This is Superweek TV. We are here at Superweek 2023. My name is Jomar from the brand leadership community, and have been having the most amazing time interviewing people, some of the amazing brightest minds in analytics, and talking to them about their career, the importance and learnings, and the value of the relationships and having a great community. With me now, I have a gentleman who I've known for many years by the name of Peter Meyer. Peter, welcome. You are a regular at Superweek.
Thank you, yeah.
Tell us, Superweek 2023, what is going to be your big memories from this year?
So I actually have trouble remembering all the sessions, but I kind of remember themes. And for me, that would be, which makes sense, that you need to track what you need and not all of it. But you also need to track what the business really wants and can gain value from. But also all of the stuff with GA4. It seems a little bit maybe surprising that we're still talking about GA4. But because it's not a finished product, then we have to discuss how to do it best, of course. And I gained some good insights this year about that as well. So I'm going back to do that as well. But yeah, that's mostly it because I'm technically oriented, I would say.
Yeah, on that note, and this is a question I ask everyone, what is your superpower or superpowers? What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing, love doing? And what are you known for being good at? What are you the go-to person for?
Yeah, so I would say implementation, web analytics implementation mainly, and my title is implementation lead. So, yeah, that, but also at the same time, even though that's technical, understanding the business. So I feel that I'm good at talking to business people as well, and trying to get them to understand what the technicalities I talk about actually really mean. I would maybe consider that a bridging superpower, you could say.
Yeah, yeah. And walk us through your career. I mean, because you've worked for some cool brands and agencies as well. What was from your first job, and what are some of the things that way back then kind of like highlighted to you your career path?
Oh, that's a long story, to be honest. I started in a small actually a print company doing forms and stuff for postal service. But I started there because they wanted to go into doing websites as well. So I started doing HTML and stuff like that way before CSS and JavaScript and all of that. And that's actually also where I kind of stumbled on analytics, you could say, because then we started doing log file analysis with web trends back then. And then I've worked as a Microsoft-oriented developer, you could say, so .NET and ASP. Worked a lot with Cypress CMS, and that kind of led me to Aller Media in Denmark.
Which is one of the biggest publishers in Denmark, right?
Yeah.
Traditional magazines and...
Yeah, actually in the Nordics, but I work in the Danish part, yeah. And there I actually worked in the end as a team lead for a web development team. And that was also where I kind of really started to do stuff like this. So I implemented the first version of Google Tag Manager and started using Google Analytics and stuff like that at the time. And then jumping a little bit, I actually started at IH as well. So I'm both company side and client side, you could say, where I work with you and Sten and others here today. And that's kind of where it took off for me as well, because Sten pushed me a little bit into presenting, and that's where he took me to my first Superweek in 2016. And that was my real, you could say, bigger presentation experience, and I've been hooked since then. But still, implementation, that's what I'm doing.
So yeah. You'd say that your type of personality or skill set, would we say that that's a more structured person? I mean, if we do look at the infamous Steen Rasmussen, we have a guy who has amazing ideas and will see things in a very different way. Can that often be a challenge, working with a lot of ideas and a lot of noise for you, someone like yourself?
Yes, I like to have or at least see stuff and people in boxes, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Sten is not like that. That's true. But I actually feel that is where the magic happens. So let's call Sten unstructured. That's maybe a bad word, but way out there kind of brainstorming person. It actually feels quite good that I can then actually create what he's asking for, but in a structure that I prefer and know is the best way to do it, you could say. So that's actually where the magic happens, I think, when you talk to people who don't necessarily know all the technical details supposed to be there to make it happen.
So tell us, in your career, what are some of the challenging things you've had to deal with? How did you deal with it? And ultimately, what have you learned from these challenges? If you think back, what are some of the toughest things you've had to go through?
I would say in our field, so tracking of websites in general, I think that being asked to do something you know is not right, but you're just being asked to do it and you have to do it because someone is designed you have to do it. And not having a discussion talking about why it would make sense, because I might know that what you're asking for is actually not a good idea, even though you think so. And then having that dialogue, that's kind of what I've been, I would say, struggling with from time to time, that people are not interested in that. I need this and you just need to deliver. You're kind of a, code monkey or whatever. Not having that dialogue between business and techie guys is hard, I would say, and I have tried that many times.
Yeah, and we've seen that as a theme here, where we're talking about using data with a sense of purpose towards the business. Do you think industry in general is getting better at that, and how they use data and why they use data?
Yes, I do. But it's maybe also stuff like COVID and things like that make people think differently. Mainly to save money, possibly, but yeah, that's kind of a good thing, I would say. If you have good things in COVID, I think that is actually a thing that made people think more about what they ask IT and analytics and whatever for. So people kind of think before they ask a little bit more now, or maybe take the discussion because they need to do that. If that makes sense. Yeah.
So it seems like we're living in a world of change, right? And uncertainty. We have a lot of change. I've talked in previous episodes about, with other people, about privacy, the regulations that come along with that. The change with Google, and also the sunsetting of Optimize. There's a lot of uncertainty. Then we have the geopolitical situations. We have a looming recession. In your mind, I suppose, in the engine room, do you get to be able to see what the future is? You're seeing a lot of data. You're seeing where do you see the future in times of uncertainty? Is this something that you think a lot about?
Yeah, it is actually. So in earlier years, not that long ago, we kind of wanted to track everything because we could, and it was fun. And that's of course not the way to go if you think really good about it. So the consent thing and the GDPR thing is of course quite important, but also cookies disappearing slowly and quite soon possibly. So what I see is that a lot of companies will, to a larger extent, maybe ask people to log into their websites to get data on people, but ask them in a clear way, can we get your data? If you log in, if you do that, then you get these benefits. So that's what I think will happen a lot, that people get more customized journeys, personalized journeys on websites and in apps by logging in, but then also kind of, I wouldn't say paying, but then providing the information to both do that, but also give us the insight that we lose slowly, you could say.
Do you think that brands need to treat their visitors and customers more as a community? Do you think, this is where I see that, like, community and brands is an opportunity to start collecting first-party and zero-party data. And if you look at your experience and your time being involved in communities, do you think that the companies and the brands out there should also have a community-based mindset? What does community mean to you and a part of the future?
Yeah, so community means a lot for me. I would say I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if it weren't for community, you could say. Having a good network, both for sharing knowledge and pains and whatever, that has been very, very valuable for me. So if you share your knowledge, you gain knowledge. And if you teach others something, you also learn something yourself by doing that. So that's actually really a big part of who I am, I would say, actually, that I couldn't do what I'm doing without a community. And you also then need to give back, of course. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's the future of Peter Meyer? You're now back at Alameda. You've gone into the agency. We met at IH, and then you also worked in other agencies as well. And now you're back in almost. Does it feel like you're home? Do you come re-equipped with new learnings? What's your future that you see moving ahead from here?
Yeah, I'm back at Alameda in a different trade, so it's kind of weird, but in a nice way.
Yeah.
It is. It feels like coming home. It does, and I feel like because I worked there as a web developer 10 years back, I kind of still have a knowledge about the area of business, the vertical, or what you say. That's also very helpful for me, I would say. But big things in the future, the near future is, of course, GA4 migrations. We need to do a GA4 migration, and I actually just did that where I lived. So I did try that before, and also got some tips here, of course, to do it even better. And then also spending a lot of time on CDP migration, actually, because that's also a way to kind of, might I say, save our data, to put it in a CDP and possibly get people to log in and all of that stuff. But yeah, both as a value for the customer and ourselves, and of course.
The customer data platform, the CDP, do you see that evolving in terms of what it means to business as well? Yeah, both. You could say to join data from different sources like app and web and whatever, but also because it really doesn't care where the data is coming from. You can really use that to personalize user journeys. That's at least what I want to go for. It's a great tool for that, but also the fact that it doesn't rely that much necessarily on cookies, so that you can do personalized stuff without having the soon-to-be legacy cookies and all of that. But it's, of course, still challenging. But yeah. What are some of the things that you enjoy in working with people? Like when you think of someone that you work with, what are some of the best traits that you enjoy? That would be that people listen to what you have to say, but also contribute to the conversation. You could say I'm kind of an introvert myself, but I have learned over the years that discussing stuff brings even more value. So I might be more senior than a colleague that I'm talking to, but even though you're a junior and I'm a senior, you might actually be able to bring value or come up with ideas that I didn't think about. So this kind of ping pong with colleagues and peers in the community is really valuable for me, but it's really valuable for everyone, companies, whatever, I would say. So yeah, that would probably be it, I think. And was it good to be back on stage again at Superweek this year? Yes. I didn't present last year, and that was kind of like, I felt a void in my mind or something like that. I missed out, but I'm really, really happy to be back. Yeah. And it's, you know what, it's really good to be here again, my second time here with you, and to experience this Superweek that you've always told me about back in the day. So it's been a real honor and an honor to have this moment with you and I here. Likewise. Thanks, Peter. Likewise. Thank you. Thank you. This is Superweek TV at Superweek 2023. I'm Jomar. We will see you shortly for our next up and coming guest. Thank you. See you soon.